And a mesh, mesh network, Google Nest or Eero or Orbi, and that's often used when you have multiple rooms that you need to get through from or an upstairs and downstairs. One is, and then the rest of them are wireless. Ethernet is better, but they can do it wirelessly. Yep. It's not data transmission rate because I've seen it have a full signal strength but a low transmission rate. Um, yeah, on a computer, if you hold the Option key down, um, you can see more information about your wireless connection. So right now I'm getting 200 megabits, which is interesting because I'm about 3 feet from the router. So I should be getting every person using it uses some of that bandwidth. And that's one of the um, advantages of the new mesh networks is that it has a separate radio channel to talk to all of the other network routers. With the older systems like Apple's Airport, when you have an extender, it basically cuts the signal speed in half because it uses half the signal to go forward to the next base station and then half the signal to go back to the previous one till it can get back to the main base station connected to the ISPs or the internet itself. That would be both. Um, no, not a sum, but it transmits at the same speed in both directions. That now, since the beginning, basically has been down, and that's why our upstream speed is usually like a tenth of our downstream speed. A lot of ISPs have been increasing their upstream speed because they know people are doing video conferencing, which is a lot of up. Yeah, go ahead, Lyle. Yeah, so going through a cellular hotspot, you may not have the best connection speed either, depending on your cell tower. So it's kind of the hidden problem with Wi-Fi is there's so many different types of connections. Carol, you were half missing. Yeah. So there's yeah. All right. I just had someone in the chat saying they couldn't hear the questions, but I can see the volume meter going, so it should be sending the volume to YouTube. That's weird. Yep, thanks for coming, Lyle. So we had a couple questions about signal strength and speed and your internet service and why Zoom might be laggy that we're seeing a couple of people have problems with, and it's all kind of tied together with the internet and interference around you, what your internet service speed is, what your Wi-Fi speed is, how many other people are on your Wi-Fi. So right now, Shirley and I are both on Wi-Fi doing video, and I actually have my iPad monitoring the YouTube. So we're doing 2 video up and 3 video down. So we're probably saturating our Time Warner connection. And then Charlie was having issues with his Wi-Fi hotspot. Now, what have you got working now, Charlie?
Maybe, I don't know, but
I have to switch microphones between me and everybody else. All right, so now me works, but everybody. Right. So YouTube can only hear me or everyone else, but not both. So I have to switch the microphone input that's feeding into YouTube so that they can hear me. So that's a built-in. So Soundflower. So I'm using Soundflower for inputs, so that it's supposed to grab the input from everything. And I'm just looking through my settings here. I can do 2-channel or I can do 4-channel. Soundflower in versus Soundflower out. It's frustrating because everything was working earlier, and as soon as I get more people in Zoom, it stopped working. And then I'm grabbing the audio um, between Zoom and microphone. So it's because I'm trying to grab the audio from multiple different programs to be able to um, work into a single audio stream for YouTube. That's where I'm running into problems. It probably would have worked if I had the PA system set up, because then everything goes through the PA system. Just to be annoying. Yeah, don't have to tear everything, set everything up and tear everything down again. Um, we used to have a whole lot more stuff. People who've been in the club a long time probably remember how much stuff we would bring in and out, and it was amazing. Yeah, the way the aggregate device is set up, it should work, and it just isn't. So I've got 2 input channels, I've got 2 input output channels. So 4 ins and 2 outs. If I add the second out, maybe that will work. We're just experimenting. Well, I've been switching the audio back and forth. So as Charlie was just saying that the people watching YouTube were down to four, and they may have been having trouble hearing. So I was trying to switch the microphones back and forth to be able to see what's going on.
To your part two, which is what are all those settings once you get things situated?
Bear in mind that from the look of things, pretty much, I mean, I can't say the four on YouTube are other people, but I mean, we're pretty much down to the board members on Zoom at this point. And I want to explicitly say that I'm certainly not faulting Steve for any problems we're having here. This whole process is a challenge, and he's juggling a bunch of interesting stuff that's again beyond my comprehension. Hi, Rick.
YouTube went down to 3 and now it's up to 5.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to take a little break. But now I'm back.
Maybe that's what people did is, sitting so long, they kind of were like, okay, we got to get up and do something. We don't have a formal break.
It's kind of fun because on YouTube, you're talking about the reversal of the images in between Zoom and YouTube, and the apple cider mug is reading left to right, but the images from Zoom are backwards, and that's the way it is. I guess it's
Well, I guess you can pretend you're Michelangelo, right?
I missed that.
Well, because Michelangelo always wrote backwards, or not Michelangelo, but
Da
I'm
Vinci?
thinking of Da Vinci did.
That's right. The secret writing.
Yes.
So how has everyone been spending their time while they've been indoors?
I've basically been doing pretty much the same thing I always do, but other than the inability to go and socialize, like you can't say, let's go for coffee. I suppose you could do virtual coffee, right, Carol?
Yeah, everybody makes coffee.
Yeah, well, I can't go anywhere. But, now with the weather getting better, it's supposed to be up to 80 by next weekend. I think everybody's going to be out because today I went out, the rec center over here in Fairport was offering the free mass through the county, and food donations. And I went to go and get in line. It's the second one. It was just up to the traffic light before you even went on to Turk Hill Road was mobbed with cars. So I just kept on going and got coffee because there was no point, so but it was a nice day, so I just kind of drove around the back streets and looked at the trees blooming and said, wow, how good. No rain, no cold.
And today
It was nice.
We got a free mass down at the town hall. There was a long line down Elmwood. And
Yep, see, that's the same thing.
like
These are
20
free
of
mass
them.
too.
We gave them a little bit of canned food, and we got 20 mass.
Oh, that was good. Ours were like a drive-through.
Yeah, it was drive-through.
And
it was very quick and efficient.
Well, this one was mobbed. There were probably 100, 200 cars in line. So people were just like me
quick
going, I'm not going to go because there was no way you would be waiting an hour in line.
Well, I saw a video of Irondequoit, and it looked like there was traffic jam, not moving. But
Yeah.
It wasn't bad in Penfield.
Yeah, in Brighton it moved right along.
So I guess that it was very popular. So hopefully they'll do some more.
Well, I have a computer problem.
Okay, what's your computer problem?
I bought a used computer.
Oh, that was your first mistake.
Well, okay, but I still have a used computer and I have a problem with it. And the problem is, I use the mouse and I can click on an icon and I can see that it's recognized that I clicked on it, it's selected, but I can't open an icon. It won't open. And
Can you try a different mouse?
yeah, I've tried different mice, both plugged in and one wireless one, and select it, but it won't open it. However, if I select it and I use keyboard Command O, it will open it. So I can open them, but it's a pain in the ass, you know, like especially I was doing some music, probably 13, something like that. It's a 27-incher.
2013. I don't know.
Anybody ever heard of that
Can
problem?
you reset the PRAM on those?
I don't know. Is that something I should try?
It might be worth it.
It sounds like a mouse problem, because if you can open it through a command,
but I can use different mice and it's the same problem.
Maybe a key is stuck and it's preventing the, you know, sometimes when you have accidentally press a key, the mouse doesn't work properly.
I could use a different keyboard. I could try that.
I would say a different keyboard.
Are you plugging the mouse into the keyboard?
I tried both that and also a wireless one.
Have you tried plugging your mouse directly into the back of the computer?
Yeah, a wired one.
No
How else would I do it? You know.
Well, some people plug in their keyboard and then plug the mouse into the keyboard.
I plugged into the back of the computer, and it will select an icon, but it will not open with the mouse.
But a stupid question is, did you go into the mouse preferences and make sure that you had the, especially for a wireless mouse, of the right and left clicking and what to do with the right and left click? Because the preferences in there, you know, you have to sometimes set with a wireless mouse. So if you go to settings,
on with that, but I don't think that's the problem. But you know, it's a suggestion, and I'll explore it more. I know I did get in there to set up the mouse, you know, the Bluetooth, so it recognized it.
Well, you know, a 2013 machine is 7 years old, and that PRAM battery could be dying on you. Well, so you might have to have that replaced.
Checking the mouse preferences is something I'm looking at, and checking the PRAM. There's Command Option PR, right? When you restart.
Well, that's to reset the PRAM, but I'm saying the battery itself could be going too.
Well, nobody's ever heard of this problem before. So batteries go all the time. This would be a common problem if that was a function of it.
Well, yeah, if your PRAM battery is going, it can cause all sorts of strange hardware issues.
This isn't just strange, it's unique. Okay.
I see Matthew is trying to join.
Well, he's joined. We don't have video. His name is up there.
He's not quite sure. He's not quite sure what to do.
He needs to start the video.
I'm here. I can hear you guys.
Boom.
Okay, but where's your face?
Or just down on the lower left-hand corner, look at the mic and camera icons and see if they have a red line through them and click them.
Okay.
We got audio. Do you hear us?
Yeah.
So
can you see us?
Two-way audio and
we hear you.
One-way video.
You don't have a Band-Aid over your camera like I do most of the time.
No.
Oh, you mentioned that. I've got these, which I just bought. I bought extra ones. I want to sell them for $5 a piece.
What are they?
You use a business card. You take the business card and you
I
fold
had
it,
a piece of
and then you
tape
can just
that
put it
works
right
very
over.
good. But these are great because they fit right over your camera. Let's see, right over your camera. They slide back and forth. So I slide it. Now it's off. For us paranoid people that don't like the idea that somebody might be looking in, you know, and it's really nice because it just fits over there. I take it when I want to make sure. I take a flashlight to look at it. It's got to be over to the right, and then it's off, so you can't see me. So you can't see.
But
right now.
but they
Changing
can hear
pose.
you.
Yeah. Well, I probably could put something over the microphone too, but
The best thing to do is just turn down the input volume on the microphone. Turn it all the way to 0.
well, I'm less worried about the microphone than the video.
On the original Apple, I keep asking him to start it, and he keeps saying no at the other end.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That
You
didn't
want
work.
Cora?
You must have it locked.
Oh, I see, Cora.
Oh, there's the dog.
Cora. She's probably going, what are you doing? He said he just got back from Sodas Bay, right?
Yeah. So
You can turn it back to portrait because it didn't rotate your screen, so now you're sideways. There. Oh, now we lost the video. Now you're back. Hey, that worked. Now you're bigger.
button on.
That's what I figured.
But it doesn't fill up the space allocated. You know,
He's probably in square
margin.
picture or something.
Still margin on each side.
I'm a rectangle. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, it's about a rectangle.
Hey, it brings up a question about videos taken with a smartphone. This is something that irritates me because I'm irritable. And it's not you, Matt. I'm talking about like new things or things like that.
I feel personally attacked.
I'm not referring to you here, but there will be videos posted online, and the panel is divided into 3 parts, so to speak, and the middle is the video, and then the left and right parts are either blank or they're kind of a pale.
They're blurry.
Pale image of the same video.
Right.
What's up with that?
You got it.
Yeah, the person is using a phone to shoot the video, and they have the phone in portrait mode. So it's taking a tall, skinny, tall and skinny picture because that's the front portrait mode. So we have this vertical video syndrome, to call it, and the VVS, and we've been complaining for years, basically since smartphones came out. People have been shooting vertical videos, and they haven't stopped, and then they probably won't stop ever.
An app for that.
I
app
have
that
a
doesn't allow you to do
2.5 minute
portrait.
long video. Had the video in, regular mode the whole time.
Well,
It
but
was horizontal. Ruined everything.
Is what you're saying that basically they've got the phone, let's say, doing video in portrait mode, but with the phone turned into landscape position, so to speak?
It's actually in portrait mode, and that's what it's shooting. After the video is recorded in video editing software, you can, in essence, zoom in and fill that out a little bit, but it's really hard to do because there isn't any data out there. And so it's hard to make a square video widescreen because that's how it was shot. And so, especially all these people that are doing their video from home now, they're doing it vertically, and it's just very frustrating.
It's the way you're supposed to do it. You can't do it like this. It drives me nuts.
Well, Thank you for at least saying it bugs you like it bugs me.
I think we're unanimous.
Hey, Bob, just one thing looking up about your mouse problem.
Yes.
Did you try booting up in safe mode and see if it works there?
Don't think I did. I don't use that computer. I just want to get it set up for her. And once it, this problem, I'm probably going to wind up stuck with the machine and I won't sell it to her. So I'll lose money. But safe mode, I'll try that again. I think I did.
'Cause I have a,
For years, I've been helping people with computers, and I forget what I did from one moment to another. But I try this, and I try that, and I try something else, and then eventually it works. And they say, "Well, what did you do? How did you fix it?" And I'll say, "I don't know. I tried this and I tried that. Something worked." So I forget. You got to log it. You got to be very meticulous about documenting what you're doing. First, I'll try this. I'll try that. Something else. And I just
Computers are hard.
go and try things.
I know the exact on a very small scale, because that's what I do with computers. Is I don't know much enough to get into advanced problems, but same thing happens to me. I'll poke around and I'll finally achieve what I wanted to achieve, but I'm darned if I know how I got there. By then, I've tried enough different things.
Yeah, we always have that problem at work where you try a whole bunch of things and which one did it. So we try to write down everything. The other thing we say is try one thing at a time. So, I don't want to zap the PRAM and boot into safe mode and delete my extensions, because which one of those worked? It was 3 things I did.
Is that right?
yeah.
But don't do it now because you'll lose us.
No, I won't. It's not this computer.
So one of the things that happens in safe mode is it doesn't load all the high video drivers, and so you'll see your screen will kind of shutter because it doesn't have the full video driver. So it looks really weird, and so that's normal when you're in safe mode.
Issue.
Well, you have a different safe mode because you're on Windows, and that will often default your screen resolution back to 640 by 480. Yeah, it used to. I think they've upped it now to 1024 by 768 because they didn't. Yeah, they didn't.
And it's a known issue that they haven't fixed in 5 years, and so now I can't play the game and I lost my money. But nonetheless,
oh, no.
I had to boot into safe mode to try out one of the issues, and not only does Microsoft make it so your first ever password ever used on that computer has to be used, not your current Microsoft password, but the first password you ever used on that computer, which has changed. I had to figure that out. And then it didn't even fix the problem after I went through safe mode and changed all the stuff. So that was fun.
Were you actually able to remember that first password?
Yeah, just forcefully try every password I've ever made, and one of them worked.
Yep.
Like that.
That's probably why I was getting a couple of emails about passwords changing, because we share a Microsoft account for your Xbox that you don't use anymore.
Well, no, I still use it. So with Windows 10, I'm still using that account. I switched the emails over, but it still has you on it. So I think you're like a main email and I'm like a backup email.
Because you were underage at the time.
You were probably 14 at the time.
Well, when we made the Xbox, we got it when we moved in 2008, which
Oh,
I
well,
was
10.
8.
You were 10.
Yeah.
9 or 10.
No, I was 8. I was 9. 8 or 9.
Probably don't need your father on the account anymore.
Yeah. Computers are weird.
It's logical to them. We're the ones who aren't doing it properly.
So are we going to do the preferences thing tonight, or do you think we're about done?
Well, if there's something someone want to seize, we can do it, but we're getting close to being tuckered out.
And we're going to see each other for a while.
I know. This is unreal. But thank God for technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just need to convince a lot of people to wear masks and how to wear them properly.
You got it. Yep.
I see them like with it down
Below the nose.
And,
Yeah.
and they haven't bent the metal ring in.
Yeah. Boy, we were lucky. The town of Brighton gave away a bunch of masks today.
Well, we had I was telling Bob, Fairport did it today, but there were so many people still in line. It was back.
Camera.
Oh.
They were selling masks.
Wow.
So I bought two boxes, 50 or 100. I forgot which one it was.
Oh. No,
But
you had a long line, but it was relatively fast. So line like.
I guess it depends on how much are you actually going out.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to go out that much to mingle with people, then you probably don't need to overload too many. But if you're going to work and you're around people every day, then that's different. Because you're going to use them more.
Yeah.
So
just use them like if we go to the park or shopping and.
Right, that's about it. We don't have much other entertainment places we can go.
Definitely.
Though I see they're doing the drive-in now is opening this weekend, so I'm sure they'll be mobbed.
Oh, you bet.
Oh, is it the one in Avon?
Yes, they were on the news today talking about they were going to be ready to go, but they said still social distancing if you go to the refreshment stand, and they're going to have the cars parked not next to each other anymore, which is kind of ridiculous because when you're sitting in the car and you're next to each other, you've got a couple feet right there.
Right.
Let alone leave another space in between. But
your windows are generally up.
Yeah, your windows would be up.
So yeah, it's not warm enough to have the windows down anyways, pretty much. So
I've been going to the car wash a lot. The Delta Sonic has opened back up. So I think tomorrow what I'm going to do is go to every Delta Sonic in Monroe County, just go through one to the other just to get out of the house and do something.
Oh, please, there must be something more fun than that.
Golf courses are open. Lyle went to the golf courses this morning.
A lot of trails in it, all around it. It's called Trail Town USA, and there's a million parks around here. Carol can attest to the fact we've done quite a few of them.
Yeah.
So you get out in nature, and you don't usually meet anybody when we've gone. I'm sure there's probably more people out now, but
well, there's enough space for everyone. Like I go to the ones in Webster mostly, and you just keep away from people. It's all.
Yeah, there's a good one out by the waste disposal out here in Fairport that's really good. It has a huge ponds, like 4 different ways to get to them with ponds and woods and all sorts of stuff. And it's huge, but you got to kind of like explore around and see where all these little mini parks are and stuff to get out. But still, lucky. At least we're better than some people where they don't have access to places like that.
Yep, I agree.
And they have to kind of stay in their apartments and kind of be really separated. So
that would be the worst. We went to Highland today, and people had masks on, and the paths are wide enough that people would, you stay over here or stay over there. And
plus, the farmers markets are going to be opening pretty soon too.
Now that's a surprise. Wow.
Hopefully, because ours doesn't open until June or the end of May or something. I know the public market has been open all along and stuff.
Yeah.
But I've started hearing people talking about having the public markets and little food roadside stands are opening and stuff like that. So
Which one do you go to?
there's one in Fairport.
Okay.
I
we
don't
go to
know if it's
there.
open yet, but there's a couple of them around that are sort of roadside stands down the way that I don't remember where they are right this minute, but I remember going past them. So all depends on, they have food for sale. People want to go out, wear a mask, buy your stuff.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how much is out.
At least a little bit, just to get some.
Well, I think part of it is people want to socialize too. They want to talk face to face. Even if you have to sit 6 feet apart or whatever, people still want to talk to somebody other than their other and say, I need someone else. I've talked to you for weeks now. It's like, it's.
Oh man.
3M has been able to ramp up their N95 mask making.
I've not heard anything.
Anything?
No.
Don't know. That's a good question, but I haven't heard anything.
I
we
have
watch
not.
A lot of the shows.
He's got 4 mothballed production lines, and early on in this thing, he contacted, I don't know, FEMA or one of the agencies, and they basically were incapable of working with him. And I mean, he was willing to go to the expense of starting these lines up and producing like hundreds of thousands of masks, but he banged his head on it as long as he could stand it, and then he quit.
Oh,
that's too bad. When people are willing to do something positive, and you got an agency that says, well, no, we don't need that. And you're like, yes, you do.
Yeah.
Like even the testing, it's getting better, but it's like, we're so behind on everything. And I think that's another fear of being able to do a little socializing, is because there's not any testing to see who's doing what.
Well, we can't have testing because that would show how bad things are.
Exactly.
Though I did see a thing today that said some of the places that initially thought they were over it reopened, and now they're kind of going backwards because they got that surge, but they knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like,
listen to the scientists. Fauci said, take it easy here, folks. And
yeah, but you have the politicians are just trying to make everything open, which in a way, yes, you need the economy, but at the same time, people are being cautious, and they're just like, they don't care.
Yeah.
See, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter whether you open slowly or quickly until they have a vaccine. This is not going to go away.
No, and you eventually got to get out there, because it just has to be that way. I mean, it's going to be something that's seasonal. It kind of goes away. You're going to have to be like, can I live in my house for 6 months to a year? You can't do that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I did find an article that 3M is ramping up. They just got another contract with the DoD. Interesting, the DoD is doing it. So they're doing 96 million masks that should be available by October. Really? Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, but they're thinking this is going to come back in the fall. So I guess if they're prepared, and there's other.
But it isn't like it's coming back. It's still with us.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, they keep saying it's going to be months before they get anything really going for a vaccine or anything.
Yeah.
So I guess it's what do you do? I mean, it'll end up where people will be allowed to go back, but you got to wear a mask.
Right.
And you try to distance yourself as much as possible, depending on what it is. And again, you can't see where, like, you can go to a football game, go to a concert, all those things are going to suffer, plays, entertainment, all the arts are going to be like, where is it?
Yeah.
Comment, Ken?
Oh, I was going to ask you whether you did the safe boot or not.
I did, and it failed.
And it failed.
Yeah.
I bet you it's a keyboard. There's a keyboard problem that's preventing it from preventing the mouse from working, but that's just
I'll put a different keyboard on it.
Yeah.
Problem.
I'm gonna go eat some food.
Okay, bye, Matthew. It's nice seeing you.
Hey, Matt.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye. Bye, Cora.
Have for the group. I've been, I just put in a SSD drive in my wife's iMac. And I'm also putting one in for a friend. He has a 2010 iMac. And I've done a couple other ones where I put the SSDs in. But the problem I'm having is trying to get some of the older systems like 1012 or 1013. I do have them on thumb drives, but every time I try to use them, it says it's damaged and won't let it do it. Sometimes it will work. Most of the time it hasn't, but I seem to, I have made a couple thumb drives with the different systems on there, but when I go to put them on the computer, a lot of times it just doesn't work.
The problem is the security certificate in the installer has expired, so it won't run. So the easy solution is to set your clock back a few years. So for whatever year that system was released, set the clock to that date. Or you can go to Apple's website and download current installers that have updated security certificates. They're not easy to find, so what I usually do is just Google a High Sierra download. And it will take me to Apple's website, really wanting me to download Catalina, but below that there is a link that says, okay, you can download High Sierra, and you get a current installer that has an updated security certificate that will work within the current date. But setting the clock back, doing the install, and then setting the clock forward, damaged is almost a it's an incorrect error because the certificate has expired. You should get a certificate expired error, but that doesn't help either. But because it still wouldn't run. But maybe if it said expired, you'd figure out that you have to set your clock back. But that's the trick.
Okay, that's good to know.
Well,
I'm going to say one more thing for Ken, especially on the iMacs. There was a range of iMacs, the 2009, 2010 era, that there was a thermal sensor that was taped to the drive that you have to keep in place so that the system knows the temperature of the drive and the fans don't go crazy. There were a batch of models where the thermal sensor was actually a connector on the edge of the drive. And it wasn't an actual sensor. It was a connector to read the temperature of the drive itself. And on those computers, you have to get your own thermal sensor, or otherwise the fan will go full speed all the time because it's not getting that thermal data. But we found a program called Ssd Fan Control. Yeah, and that will let you override the Apple thermal sensor and use the smart sensor that's built into the smart data cable, which is what Apple's using now on all of their machines. So that was a common problem when you replace the hard drive in an old Mac.
World Computing and got the upgrade kit. So it came with the connector and the thermal connector, not the connector, but thermal tape you put down on the drive when you put it back in. If so it does the heat sense. So I have used Otherworld Computing, and it comes with that cable, so you can stick it to the hard drive.
Yeah, and a lot of the iMacs use a 5.25-inch bay for their hard drive, so you need the 3.5-inch bay adapter from Otherworld. We use those a lot too.
So it comes with the adapter, comes with the thermal connector, and if you wanted to get a drive with it, you can do that. Because I've done it both ways of just getting the kit and not the drive, because I've gotten a drive on sale someplace else or whatever. But upgrades on these iMacs, and the biggest problem with the 21-inch iMac is the display port cable is very fragile on the 21-inch iMacs. And so when you try to put it back in, sometimes it just, either disintegrates or the connector itself, gets bent or whatever, and it's very hard to put in. On the 27-inch iMacs, they come with a nice thick connector, which is pretty easy to put in, and it's a lot better quality. So that's my.
And yeah, and things are getting worse upgrading your own iMac, because now in the late 2012 they went to the really thin model where the glass and LCD panel are literally glued to the rear housing, and so you have to cut all that glue off with usually a special tool, and then put all that glue back on when you're rebuilding it. And the RAM is now on the underside of the logic board on the 21-inch models, so you have to pull the whole logic board out to upgrade the RAM. It's a pain.
I just did my wife's 2015 27-inch iMac, so I did use the separator tool, and I took off the tape. And Other World Computing, they come with the tape to put back on, and I put everything back in. And the thing is, now my wife doesn't use the computer. It's like.
Yeah, the 27-inch models have a door on the back for the RAM, which was handy. But the iMac Pro does not have a door for the RAM. And again, the RAM slots are under the logic board. So on a Pro machine, which they market at Pros, you would expect to upgrade it. It's very difficult to upgrade.
Can I ask a question about, Carol, you wanted to say something?
No.
Okay. And I'll be brief with this. In the email I sent out with the minutes and so on, I mentioned some possible topics, one of which is the dumbass Flash thing. Now, I understand Apple hates Flash. Nick says Flash is going to go away next year. It'll still exist, but they won't support it, some crap like that. I know everybody hates Flash, but the problem I ran into was I was on a website, and in the comments below an article, people were posting videos, and this is posted through a something called Discus. You're probably familiar with it. It's some company that manages commenters on websites. And but at any rate, and when I clicked on the video, it just went gray and said unable to play video or something like that. Now that was in Chrome. So then I opened the same website in Safari and was able to play the videos. So that's point one. Now, if there is still Flash in Chrome, it used to be that Chrome updated Flash automatically. Now, the other thing is, I don't know about Flash in Safari, but I do know that in Catalina that I'm running, in the system preferences, there is an icon for Flash. Should I go into that and update that, see what happens?
It wouldn't hurt to update Flash just in case you're running an older version, and use the update icon in system preferences. You'll see a lot of fake Flash update notices on the internet, and that's how malware gets into your system. The other issue is that all the browsers now will automatically block Flash and prevent Flash from running. The problem is Flash it has so many security holes. The bad guys use it to break into computers all the time. And so Adobe updates Flash all the time. People are used to installing Flash updates. So the bad guys started releasing fake Flash updates. So the browsers are all blocking Flash automatically. You have to go into your browser and on a site-by-site basis tell it to allow Flash. The theory is that if Flash is not available, that website will switch to a different, better video format. H.264 or HTML5 are the ones that have come online in the last 10 years. And that's part of the problem, is that Flash is so old. There are much better technologies in the last 10 years, but Flash is still hanging on. So that the website should send you a different video format. But if all it has is Flash, then you could get that gray screen. So you need to go into the browser preferences, and it's usually under plugins or security, and tell it to allow Flash to run on that website. Otherwise, it will just block it.
Yeah, I just got right before the meeting, there was a thing on my desktop that says, install Flash. Well, I just clicked off of it because I know it's, some bad stuff. And I just went into my preferences and it says it's up to date. So I know that it's definitely somebody trying to get into my computer by having me download this.
Yeah, and a lot of times those downloads happen automatically when a malicious ad is displayed on your web page. You don't even have to click on anything; it can download automatically, and then the person will see that flash download. And, oh, I better install that, or they'll get a message that says you must install this download, and then they install it and end up with a lot of problems.
Life. But you're saying that if this problem happens, it might be fixable, but it would have to be done website by website.
Right. Each website you have to allow Flash to run on that website.
Now, why this would suddenly have started on Chrome and not been a problem before, I do not know. And on this website, because it's a website I go to all the time. But
there was probably an update to Chrome that is deprecating Flash even more. All the web browsers have started deprecating Flash. Chrome at least was updating Flash internal to Chrome, so you didn't have to update it yourself. But I know all the browsers are going to stop supporting Flash completely when Adobe officially kills it in January.
Thank you.
All right, Shirley, do you want to close the meeting, I guess? You've been trying to for a while now.
A tangent, it's hard to know how many people are actually online who are listening and everything and who want to go forward. So, but it's 9:30 or so. So yes, I think it's a good time to stop and say goodnight. And for the board members, we'll meet again next Wednesday. And for everyone else, I guess we'll meet again in June and see where we're at socially and see again, we'll have another virtual meeting, I'm sure, because also the school is closed because it's June. So we'd also have nowhere to meet if we actually were going to meet somewhere other than the school, which might be the church, but
And I know they're probably going to be closed through the summer. So
yeah.
Well,
Charlie?
For now. No.
It's a good thing we're not having the picnic at the lodge, too.
That's true.
No.
Yeah.
Bob was trying to say something. I couldn't hear him.
No, I'm just saying, I think for the foreseeable future, this is it. We'll be meeting on my
virtually.
Yeah. I hate that word because it's real. You're there, I'm here. I don't know what's virtual about it. But anyway, this is the new reality, I think, for a while.
I agree with what Bob's saying, but Shirley, especially next week and during the board meeting, I want to touch on the subject of reserving the space at East High because we have nothing to lose by it. They only charge us if we meet there.
That's right.
I tend to think we probably won't, but we'll talk about that next time. Just not to forget it. And whether we do it at East High or we decide to go totally with like the Around the Court United Church thing, so next week.
That's true. And I don't think we have to worry too much about the Frank's Church either in Fairport. So again, being the summer, we already kind of have things planned for summer where we would meet anyway. So it's really not going to be an issue until September. And by that time, hopefully we'll be back to saying hello to everybody.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
You never know. A miracle could happen.
A while.
Well, or maybe we could have it set up for if you can meet, some people will meet and other people will say, let's do a virtual meeting.
Yeah, I think people might want to hold back.
Yeah.
I know I do.
So,
yeah.
All right. Well, then I guess we're done. So thank you for everybody who came out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good seeing everybody.
Yep. Good to see you all.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks for your hard work, Steve.
Thanks for
And again,
hosting.
if you have any questions and have any ideas for topics,
Emailed out the preliminary versions of the board meeting minutes for last month. It's because I do that in that plain text mode. what you don't see is the lovely job I did writing coronavirus pandemic in like large, weird letters with a finger pointing at them. That doesn't show up in plain text. I was just going goofy. I was just good. I was just losing it.
We'll hold that thought.
Well, I'm learning Russian.
Really?
What?
So I just want to say, Spokane noche. Spokane noche means have a calm night.
When I was in high school, I taught myself Russian, how to read and write it, not how to speak it. For some reason, I was entranced by some book that had basic things, so I was trying to do all that. But I had retained no memory of it now.
You want the other end of the day is Doble Utra.
Doble Utra.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Carol, I was going to say, Carol looks like she's around a campfire while she's camping.
Yeah.
With the sky in the background. It's like, where's your marshmallows, your s'mores, right? All right, well, then I guess we will, like I said, we'll all meet again next week. And
we'll see you
go
next
from
week.
there.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Good night.
See ya.
Good night, everybody. See you next week.
30.
Yep, 7:30.
7:30.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's 7 for this meeting, 7:30 for board meeting.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you then.
Night.
Good night.
See you.